Pastor Jeff Wells from Faith Christian Family Church to step up here and say our opening prayer for us this morning.
Good morning, everyone. Let's pray this morning. Father, we thank you for this time together once again. Thank you so much for Lapeer, Michigan, and for all the leaders and the municipalities and everyone that plays such a huge part in all the businesses. We thank you for all of them. And Lord, we thank you that our empty buildings are filling, Lord. There's more business happening, Lord. There's more people coming to Lapeer. Thank you so much for that. And Lord, bless our time together today. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Jeff. So we're going a little retro today with the projector and the screen. And that being said, when you come up to the podium, if you come up on this side, please be careful of the cord. It is taped down, but just be mindful of that. We do have our mic here for the video. So try to stay as you're speaking at the podium so we can pick up that sound. And then this sound obviously carries your wonderful and very important information out to the group. So our guest speaker today, Congressman Paul Mitchell, we're very honored to have him here. So Congressman, if you'd like to come on up and speak. We're all getting a raise, he said so.
Wow, I've been put in trouble already. Thanks very much and good morning. I appreciate time here today. I'll try and stay close to two microphones. This is a new training experience, and I will not trip over the cords. As I talk to groups, I've been asked to give an update on what's going on in Washington, try to explain what the entertainment value of Washington, D.C. has been the last 21 months. It certainly has been an experience. It's been an extraordinary experience. I think everyone can agree this has been an interesting 21 months. When I was sworn in, the majority leader said to me, he said, if you ever forget that you're one of the most lucky people in the world, you should go home. That fewer than 12,000 people have ever served representing the communities here in Washington. It's an honor and a huge responsibility. And don't forget that. And I stopped and thought about that. If you think about the history of this country, only 12,000 people have ever been in Congress. A good friend of mine, when I was elected, said to me, he said, you have a chance to write a paragraph, participate in writing a paragraph in the history of this country. Don't waste it. And when you think about those two things, it's really been a great opportunity to represent all of you. I appreciate it. It's an honor that I really do appreciate you giving me the opportunity to do. Unfortunately, I think our national media is not helping all of us, all of you. I sit there in D.C. and I watch the news, and frankly, I turn it off and just beat my head on the desk. What used to be, some of us in the room are old enough to remember, some not. You'd watch the evening news at 6:30 with Walter Cronkite or Dan Rather, and that was your news for the day. You'd read the newspaper, and you'd get to the newspaper, and then you'd go on about your day. The evolution of the 24-hour, 7-day-a-week news cycle means they've got to tell you something, and they've got to attract you to watch the news. So the news, the 24-hour news, has become almost like The Bachelorette, where you have to have drama. Got to be something exciting to watch. So we've been all about drama for a while now. And what's happening is you're not getting information that is important to know about, at least Washington, the government that you're part of. For example, the House has passed a little over 900 bills this session. About 620 are gathering moss in the Senate, dying a cruel and horrible death because they only work on occasional days after they're done talking about working and being on TV, but they occasionally do work. Most important part is 238 have become law in this session. 70% of them are bipartisan. That is, they have Republican and Democratic co-sponsorship. That's the highest in 20 years. Now, did anybody see any of that on the evening news? That in 20 years, this is the highest level of bipartisan lawmaking. You wouldn't believe that from the 24-hour news, telling you that all we're doing is we're having mud wrestling in the back of the chamber, or it's a game of Survivor, and we'll see who comes out and walks out of the battle. That's not what happens most days. Let me give you a couple examples of things that have been accomplished that you probably haven't seen much about. There's a series of bills to deal with the opioid crisis we have in our communities. to provide more resources and options and opportunity for communities and states to deal with the problem. We also put $4 billion in it last year. There's $4 billion in the upcoming year for states and communities to do community mental health, rehabilitation, treatment. Did anybody see that in the evening news? Raise your hands and tell me if anybody saw that there's additional resources going out to all states. There are. You see a lot of stuff on TV about Russian collusion. I sit in the committee that has had a series of hearings on the election of 2016 and whether or not, whether the election was impacted. Just had a classified briefing last week on election security for 2018. There wasn't a single election in 2016 that they can find that the numbers were altered in the election outcomes. Not one. There were 5 states that the voter registration rolls were downloaded. In their entirety, they were downloaded. It appears all 5 were by the Russian government, by the way, or by somebody affiliated with the Russian government. None of the data was altered from what they can tell. What we've done is we put out $380 million for cybersecurity and election security last year, and there's that amount this year to help states secure their elections, states and communities. Michigan's received over $11 million. We received about $11 million of that money. You notice in a lot of places new election equipment, some new procedures. Department of Homeland Security has a whole division devoted only to working with states and communities to secure their elections. Again, I'll ask, did anybody see any of that on the evening news? We got one winner. There you go. What's that? Okay, well that's progress, because I tell you what, you're the first person in talking to people, anybody's seen anything about it, and that's really unfortunate if you think about it. It's a huge issue in our country. It's got a lot of attention, but unfortunately, in terms of discussion, our elections, but unfortunately it hasn't gotten any notice of what's been done about it. I raise all those things because I think it's important to step back and try to understand what's going on in Washington and then get comfortable asking questions. I'd ask you all, we have an update that we send out routinely in terms of what we think is important. You can go to our website in Washington and ask to get the update. We send them out. They got me convinced to do videos called Mitchell Minutes about once a week when I'm in DC. Trying to get used to doing that in video. Video's not my world, but I'm getting used to it myself. To watch for those. They'll tell you what we did that week, what was accomplished, and what I think matters to everyone. Last week before we came home, there's a couple things that passed that are important to our community. One is we passed a series of appropriation bills for VA, energy and water, and military construction. The VA is critical because we put more money in the Veterans Administration to speed processing of claims, to provide more health care, more money for mental health services, including suicide prevention, and opioid treatment, separate from the opioid program. Because opioid addiction has become a real crisis in the veteran community. Those 3 bills are the first time, unfortunately, don't blame me, I just got there, that Congress and the President has gotten through appropriations for even 3 departments before the end of the fiscal year, since 2006. Again, you would believe, if you watch the evening news, all it is crisis. All it is chaos. It's not. Next week we'll vote on the appropriations for Department of Defense, Labor and Health and Human Services. We'll get those out to the President. It'll be the first time since 2000 that 85% of our government is funded before the end of the fiscal year. Now, that's not perfect, but God, that's better than it was. And none of you would believe that or know of that if, in fact, I wasn't standing here telling you about that. And that's really incredibly unfortunate. What do you do about it? I suggest that you broaden places you get your information from. Reuters has stuff that makes sense. Wall Street Journal carries stuff that's pretty apolitical if you avoid the opinion page. And if you go to opinion pages, go to a couple of them to see a broad range. I'm here to tell you they all have a bias. I'm not telling you that Fox News is better than CNN, than MSNBC. I mean, I'd take Sean Hannity out behind the barn and beat him a bit if I could, because they all have to sell it somehow, and they all need a little drama to do it. Questions I've had also is, well, what have you been doing in 21 months besides trying to stay out of the crossfire some days? I guess I shouldn't I shouldn't joke about that because the part's not a joke. Let's take a second and talk about that. Hadn't planned to. We're all responsible for how we communicate right? As a freshman, I signed the civility pledge, which was even with our entire freshman class, Republicans and Democrats. There were 50 of us about. That even when we disagreed about policy or issues, we were going to do it in a manner that was civil, we do it in a manner that was respectful, avoid the name calling and all the other stuff that people fall into. More and more of our members have signed on to that as it's become a more difficult environment. We're all responsible for the way we communicate with each other, even when we don't agree. And if we don't demonstrate that, if we don't model that for people around us, we're ending up in a society that people think we accomplish things through hate, through threats. We saw what happened with Steve Scalise and a variety of members of Congress that were shot at because he didn't like their politics. I sit as a freshman member of representative leadership. There have been death threats made against all of leadership because we disagree politically. We have got to, as a whole, all of us, demonstrate that we can agree or disagree on things without deciding that the best way to deal with it is try to inflict some kind of harm on the other. So I shouldn't have joked about it because it's not funny at some level. What have I done in the last 21 months for fun entertainment? When I ran, I said the Great Lakes were a priority for all of us, for me. I worked real hard to get on Transportation Infrastructure Committee. That manages an awful lot of issues around the Great Lakes. So we kept fully funded the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative that's doing all kinds of restoration projects around the Great Lakes, including this district. One in Port Huron, one down the marsh, down the St. Clair River. When there were attempts to cut that, I've talked to Mick Mulvaney, who heads management and budget, said, hey, Mick, stop. You keep cutting it, we keep putting it back. It's kind of almost a game now for him, I don't know. We managed to deal with the issue of finally the Army Corps of Engineers and an Asian carp. We're going to get the study released and begin projects to the Illinois to stop any risk, to reduce the risk of Asian carp coming up the river. That's been delayed for years. It finally moved when I said if we don't get the report, I'm going to have an amendment in appropriations to withhold money from the Army Corps of Engineers. That resulted in some terse conversations, and we agreed that they release a report. And finally, the state of Illinois agreed to put up 20% of the cost to build what we need to do down in, it's called the Brandon Road Project. State of Illinois says, well, we reduced Asian carp population by 93%. I said, yeah, but it only takes 2. So we've got to deal with it, and we are going to deal with it. Some of you may have seen, we finally have, you may have seen that Canada has not been talking about nuclear waste on Lake Huron the last couple of years. We made it abundantly clear when I met with the ambassador from Canada twice, made it abundantly clear we were not going to tolerate that. They're part of the Great Lakes Compact, and we have to agree what we do around the Great Lakes. We put some legislation together that the President and Secretary of State had engaged with Canada and said that the Kincardine waste dump is not acceptable, and if need be, we'll deal with the problem. That I don't believe will ever see the light of day. They stopped it because it's irresponsible. Now, we've got nuclear waste along the Great Lakes, and in shock, we've got spent nuclear fuel rods. So has Canada. We need to move that to a safe place. We spend billions of dollars on Yucca Mountain. And unfortunately, one senator has stopped it again this time in terms of actually operationalizing that. You've all paid in your utility bills for years to set aside money for Yucca Mountain construction, and unfortunately, it still sits there. We'll move it, but it's going to take some time. So that's the Great Lakes. We spent a lot of time on it. That and the Cedar Locks, which is we've got approval to move forward with building another large lock in the Sioux. Believe it or not, that was authorized in 1985, and Congress did nothing on it. It sat there. I found it's really big to talk in D.C., but not to get much action some days. So several of us got together and finally decided it was an important issue. And 2 of the committees I sit on, both House Armed Services that I'm a member of, as well as Transportation Infrastructure, in both cases we have language and legislation requiring to move forward the Cedar Locks. And it's been approved to move forward, and we're going to start engineering on that this next year. So finally we started progress on something that's sat since 1986. The other thing I've worked a lot on is education. It's a huge issue for the state. I've not been to an employer in this region that hasn't had a serious need for employees in one manner or another. Skilled trades, heating, cooling tech, welders, machine tool, go through your list, from one to the other. Unfortunately, there's an awful lot of schools, and we're fortunate here we don't have the same problem, but there's not enough resources for career and technical education. Provide people options for technical education and prepare for that rather than simply go through college and go through and get a master's degree and then hope to find a job. So I was a co-sponsor of something called Strengthening Career and Technical Education to put more money and make it easier for states and school districts to apply for federal money to expand their career and technical education programs. I certainly believe that money is going to help and, more importantly, make it easier to do. I've encouraged the state to look at the Michigan Merit Curriculum, which every school superintendent has told me gets in the way of them offering effective career education for folks, technical education. School superintendent here said if you just get rid of the Michigan Merit Curriculum, they take responsibility for people that graduate from their technical education programs completing and getting a job. He said he put his job on the line because the Michigan Merit Curriculum is getting in the way of him being able to do that. So we're having conversations with the state about it because I think they need to do something to address the problems they've created with doing technical education in our schools. There's a huge need. There's a company in Macomb County that pays heating and cooling techs $100,000 a year. Now that includes some overtime. But think about that. Lapeer Industries needs welders and tool and die makers. I can go through a list. I hear it every day, and they can't find them. Our region, our economy is going to suffer terribly if we don't offer that option to people, and not everyone wants to go to a college university. And frankly, who should go to a college university, have $100,000 in debt, and still not know if they can get a job? Which is the last thing I want to talk about, which is I sponsored a bill that still hasn't moved, but it's getting a lot of traction. We've got 50 different groups co-sponsoring it. There's a Senate version as well. In fact, Lamar Alexander supports it, and the Senate chairs the Senate Education Committee. It's called the College Transparency Act. It would require every college, university, career school to post their completion rates, employment rates, salaries, and costs of a program, program by program, location by location. And I say that because, let's take the school I went to, Michigan State. The completion rate, employment rate, wages between the College of Natural Resources and the College of Nursing are dramatically different. The costs are different. Your tuition may be the same, but the supplies, materials, books are dramatically different. Our 20-year-old goes to Savannah College of Art and Design. You want to talk about supply costs for a design program? Whew. That's not in the books. They don't tell you about it unless you ask. Never mind your employment outcomes. Who here went to college and knew what the outcome would be, the likelihood of succeeding from a college program, and what the employment rate was? Anybody? It's the biggest investment a family will make is the investment they will make in their children and their career, their employment, whether college, whether career school. But they're making it by guessing because they don't know. Try to find that information out. It's almost impossible. But think about the investment. I believe we need to empower consumers, the people that buy it, the people that are looking for options for their young people, or if they're going back to school to change careers, what the likelihood of being able to complete the educational program and finding a job and what they're likely to make. How hard is that to do? And by the way, all the data exists. That's the irony of it all. It all exists in one place or another. It's combining the data and requiring universities and colleges to report it. It ought to be something you can see on a website. It ought to be something you can get when you go check out admissions. They have to provide it. How would it be so bad? And it's your money. It's your tax dollars supporting it. It's your tuition money supporting it. And it's the future of our kids, our young people, if we don't make sure they know what the likelihood of succeeding are. Then if you want to take out a loan to go to Yale in art history, then you make that risk. You made that decision, and you didn't do it blindly, because that's what's happening now. And it's really unfortunate. So that's what I've been working on. How am I doing on time? I haven't seen anybody with a thumbs up here. That's what I've been working on in 21 months. It's been an interesting and wild 21 months. I had the good fortune of serving both on transportation infrastructure and House Armed Services, which is, I understand, it's a pretty rare thing. It's been about 20 years since someone's been assigned to both of those committees, as well as oversight and government reform. I'm the freshman rep to leadership. I was elected to that by my freshman class, so I sit every week with the speaker and majority leader about what we're going to do that week. That's been enlightening some days, some more than others. And I'll stop and answer any questions that people may have about, for me, about what's gone on the last 12 months and what looks like it's going to go on in the future. Yell, wave, throw things, small things. Yes, ma'am.
Has there been anything done about prescription drug costs?
About what?
That's a good question.
Prescription drug costs.
Yeah, there has, at two levels. One is, let's start with generic drugs, which is a real problem. We've had a couple of hearings where it's clear to me, to put it this way, that some of the pharmacy outfits do everything they can possibly do to make it difficult to get to a generic, including change name, but it's a whole series of some strategies. I won't get into detail on that, but I'm now encouraging the FDA to, in order to make a generic drug, you have to get a supply of the original, because you have to match it. They make it very difficult, even when we get to that stage, for the generic drug manufacturers to actually get access to the medication, sufficient quantity of it. I've advocated to the FDA that they actually acquire it and supply that to people interested in making generics of various drugs, so that in fact that barrier is not there. Never mind all the other little games they play. We'd be better off if we could just have the generic drugs process work smoothly and effectively than it does now. That'd be step one of a process that would certainly deal with their drug costs. The other is we have, for some political reason, prohibit, for example, under Medicare and Medicaid, the negotiation of drug prices, which doesn't make sense to me. The third thing that's probably most concerning for and confusing for all of us is what's covered and not covered. They're called formularies. And every health plan's different. They change them every year. You may have it covered this time, but not next time. It's just, and we deal with the same problem at home. I deal with it. We haven't required under any version of the healthcare programs, either for private insurance or under the Affordable Care Act, that they disclose that as part of the health plan. So it's like this voodoo science that goes on at the health insurer, whether or not your medication is covered or not, what type of medication is covered. We need to provide that information out to people so they know what they're buying when they buy health care, or health insurance, I should say, because right now you don't know. I don't know, you don't know, and it varies on a routine basis. Does that answer your question? We're not going to be able to regulate them as a whole, because the moment in time you try to, they're going to invent another drug, and how are you going to regulate it? But what's his name did go to jail. Our buddy with the, what was it, the yeah, the Narcan, was it Narcan? Which was the guy that jacked up the prices? He put himself in hot water. Other questions? Yes, sir. Question.
Even though we view it as having a really great economy right now, we're on the road to $1 trillion deficits again. Yet we don't really seem to hear much about the debt or the deficit being brought up with the public control of all three branches. Why should this not be a huge concern for us if this is a boom time yet we're still ramping up?
Current national, he's asking about the national debt and additional $1 trillion being added to it. The original projection was, with the tax cuts, which we're referring to, the tax cuts bill, was $1.5 trillion was the projected cost of that over a 10-year period. Current national debt is about $22 trillion. Current projections are at the current growth rate of about 3%, 3.2% to be precise. Went to school in economics, sorry. Current projections are that, in fact, 88% of that original projection of deficit is already paid for. We just grow at the current rate. We get to 4%, we're actually at a surplus. I think it's gone away entirely. You don't solve our national debt by, Greece tried to solve their debt problem by increasing taxes. We see how well that went. Because guess what? The Greeks figured out they can't put us all in jail. So they literally collectively all paid what they wanted of their taxes. California increased their taxes. They went to what they call it, I forgot the name, I call it the wealth tax. My son worked at a company in San Diego. The owners lived in the Lake Tahoe side, or the California side of Lake Tahoe. 3 minutes.
Don't worry about it.
When California passed their wealth tax, they reincorporated, moved to the Nevada side of Lake Tahoe, kept the operating business in California, and changed their tax status to Nevada. You can't tax their way out of it. I sat on a select committee for what they called it the debt ceiling. We called it debt relief of solving our debt crisis. There's a select committee now, both the Senate and the House now working on it, so they put fewer people on it. And put forth a bill with a senior member to require a couple of things in our budget process. It's our process that's a problem, and they spend money blindly. About 70% of our national budget is mandatory spending, 68, 65%, something like that. Mandatory spending includes such things as it's mandatory spending to feed the Mustangs on Chikatee Island. It's a mandatory item. There's no discussion of it. It's not a mandatory item. It's discretionary. We have to fight over it every year. What we pay, to pay raises for our troops. That's discretionary. Whether or not we provide equipment for the troops, whether or not we provide money for CHIP. That's all discretionary. The other side's all mandatory. We've got to fix the mandatory spending side of the equation. We propose that we put all the budget and all the appropriations into a discretionary vote every year, except for Social Security, Medicare, and TRICARE, which is veterans health care. Everything else had to be looked at and reviewed. It requires zero-based budgeting every 2 years. To have a 2-year budget cycle, and every 4 years have every agency go through zero-based budgeting and justify what they're spending. Because of the federal government, they put in a budget request, say it's 4% increase. We reduce it to 2% increase and then go back and say we took a budget cut. Well, I'm from the private sector. If you have a budget cut, you actually spend less money, not mess with what you asked for. But they say we took a budget cut. No, you got more money, you just didn't get what you asked for. Until we start controlling the ratcheting up of spending that happens automatically, we can't win that equation. Last year, our national debt cost us $900 million in interest. And that number goes up as the interest rate goes up. So it's not an issue of whether or not we should have cut taxes or not. In fact, they'll pay for themselves, in my opinion. And the economy is doing dramatically better. I'm glad you note that. With the lowest unemployment rate we've had in a very long period of time. We're at historic lows in terms of unemployment rates for women, Hispanics, African Americans. The largest group that we have that's not participating in the labor force, we're at one point we're almost at historic highs. Do you know what the group was that was not in the labor force, literally wasn't looking for work? Do you know what it was? Caucasian males between the age of 25 and 50. They weren't even trying to go to work. It was almost historic levels. It's still a problem in our economy. We get more people working, they pay taxes, we get our spending process under control, we can control our deficit. If we don't, it's going to continue at the rate it is. Do you have time for one more question before we give up? Anybody got one? Okay, we surrender. I appreciate you taking your time. Thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate it.
Okay, alrighty. Our first sponsor today, we're Sue Brady from Holiday Depot of Lapeer County. And Deb Marquardt. Well,
I know.
we only have one name here.
We
We only have one mic that you can share.
Good morning, everybody.
I'm
I wasn't supposed to be here. Sue was going to be here for me, so now you got us both. So I'm really excited that I could be here today, that we could be here today. So who started shopping, Christmas shopping? Has anybody started Christmas shopping? Has anybody thought about it? Well, I did yesterday. So it's time to start gearing up for our Christmas program for our county, Holiday Depot of Lapeer County. In your packet is a brochure that talks about asking for sponsors or for help. You can do this in a couple of different ways. You can adopt a family. You can maybe have a barrel in your business. Maybe you just want to go out and buy a couple gifts and bring them to our gift center. Maybe you want to volunteer and help us do like some inventory when gifts come in, or help with our intakes to take in families. Even maybe more important is to help us get the word out to the families that really need our help in Lapeer County. And you have on the table another flyer for October registration. We have several different locations, dates, and times for families to go. So maybe you have a place at your church, maybe you have a place at your business, or just know of a family that might need that help. You never know, so in a nice way you can maybe just somehow get that information to them. And there will be more locations coming up in November as well, but we need to get those names, people to register in October, even though they're not thinking about it, because they're thinking about how they're going to afford their costumes for Halloween and probably more school supplies. But our gracious donors who want to adopt these families, it takes a while to process all this, so we push, sign up early, sign up early. So we do need a couple things this year too, if you might have this. We need a couple old-time, I call them old-time calculators, because I'm not sure how many businesses really use the old calculators that have the tapes on them anymore, other than unless you're an accountant or working have a tax account business, taxes. But we do need that for processing when our families come in. And we could always use a couple cases of water. We have a lot of volunteers come in, so we'd like to be able to at least give them water. And then to go with the water, instead of trying to stick it outside and it freezes, or isn't cold at all, you never know what November, December is going to be, it would be kind of nice to have one of those little refrigerators. So maybe some of you have one left over somewhere in a garage or basement that you're not using. So if you know of one somewhere, if you'd let me know, that'd be awesome. So we do food, or we do gifts for families, and we do food for families. And I'm going to let Sue talk all about the food part.
Thank you. And I am Sue. I wanted to just tell you about your financial gift to Holiday Depot. It does go a long ways. It not only buys more brand new presents for the little children and such, but it also goes towards their food program. Most of the people that sign up at Holiday Depot want a holiday basket, food basket. So that falls on the shoulders of Love Inc. And we do provide that with the help of Holiday Depot, because they give us the finances to do it, and it does cost quite a bit. Last year it was, actually I spent $6,200 on feeding families here in Lapeer County, because we give enough to last for a whole week. And last year we fed over 500 people and over 160 families. And so it does go a long ways, and that's what we could do with your donations. And also quickly, our graphics artist is Christine back here, and she does, not graphic, I'm sorry. What does she do?
Facebook.
Oh, our Facebook page. And we're very thankful for Christine.
Depends on what day it
She
is.
does everything. Thank you very much.
Yes, like our Facebook page.
Facebook, right.
Yes, like the Facebook page. Did I miss anything? And I'm on time?
We're done.
Wow.
Yay!
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. I got all the water you need. Okay, one of the things that I want to talk about is we are getting ready to light up Lapeer, and what that means is all of the holiday decorations downtown. In the past 4 years, the chamber has replaced brackets and structure on the large light poles where you see the Christmas trees and the toy soldiers hanging along Main Street. We converted all of the lights on the poles that you see downtown during the Christmas season to LED lights. We did that 3 years ago. We purchased new lights also for the Christmas tree on the courthouse lawn. We purchased heavy-duty holiday banners for downtown storefront windows. And we've, over the last 2 years, purchased commercial lighted garland that you'll now see on the railings of the courthouse as well as above the windows, the lower set of the windows on the front. Organizing the Christmas parade, supporting the Winterfest and the Santa House and Santa. We also store and maintain all of those things and then update them, replace them, repair them, and have been doing that for years. So you'll be getting some information soon about that. Our goal this year is we want to install the same lighted commercial garland around the 2 columns, the center columns on the courthouse. We want to be able to do that this year, as well as a commercial size wreath that would go up above the door so that we would have these things that we'd be able to put them up each year and replace them, and they would be, last for quite a long time. In addition, in order to be able to do that, we need to add and enhance some electrical on the courthouse to accommodate the additional decorating, including what's there. We had a lot of issues last year with problems with timers, not being able to maintain in the cold temperatures. So in addition to some electrical upgrades for this, then we're also looking at having a permanent commercial grade timer installed. So these would obviously be permanent on the courthouse, and in addition to not just the Christmas decorations and things, but they'd be available for use for other events or things that are going on the courthouse lawn, the courthouse porch, so other organizations would be able to utilize it and take advantage of these upgrades as well. So we'll be getting some information out about that. Those are the goals. If we can raise the funding to do that, then these would be enhancements and decorations that would go up every single year. And being commercial grade, they'll last for a very long time. Other thing I wanted to just say too, how many people here went to the food truck festivals? Yay! Well, we're so glad that you did. Our first year doing it, it was a huge success. We had a great time, great turnout, lots of participation. We had one particular month, we had over 3,000 people who came down. We had so many compliments from the vendors about how friendly people were here and how welcoming Lapeer was to them. That our location is probably the most unique, one of the nicest locations along the river, and then with entertainment in the pavilion, they said is probably one of the nicest food truck festivals, and the setup in the area and the people that they've been to, and they do multiple ones. They kind of follow a circuit. So they were very pleased and very grateful and really enjoyed being here in Lapeer, and they're looking forward to coming back next year. So, and we are planning ahead and going to be doing it again next year. So, back in May, if you missed our guest speaker, we had a guest speaker, Michael Jeffries. He came in and talked about advanced communication and sales strategy skills. There's information in your bag. Several of the local chambers, Imlay City, Lapeer, Durand, Grand Blanc, we're all getting together. Michael Jeffries is going to be doing a special Thursday night presentation in October, and that's going to be in Grand Blanc. So there is information in your bag if you want to register. There's no fee to attend. It's a free event, dinner is included, and it's a cash bar. So that'll be over in Grand Blanc. So if you wanted to attend when he was here in May and weren't able to, that would be your opportunity. Like I said, there's information in the bag, and we'll be sending out email reminders for this because they would like you to register an RSVP. So, and you've probably noticed the slide up here, our second annual Little Princess and Prince Party coming up Sunday, November 4th at the American Legion. We have expanded the seating, but it's still limited. When the tickets are sold out, they're sold out. We had a waiting list last year. It's just a really wonderful event for children. We had even parents and grandparents that just had a wonderful time. Ray, you were there with your grandkids. And it was a great time there. When you see the faces, when they stand there and they see Cinderella, it's like when we were kids and we peeked and we thought we saw Santa Claus out there putting our presents under the tree. So it's just really a wonderful, wonderful event for grandkids, nieces, nephews, your children. So we hope you'll take notice. Information again is in your bags, and get registered to attend. Okay, next sponsor, Emily Barber, Kapala Heating and Air Conditioning. Come on up here, Emily.
Chris, was that you? I recognize that clap. Good morning. Yes, my name is Emily Barber. I'm with Capella Heating and Air Conditioning. I'm the operations manager at Capella. And we are pretty excited to launch our new program this fall, 2018. It's our Capella Comfort Rewards. But before I get into the benefits of the rewards, I want to talk a little bit about maintenance. Your furnace and your air conditioner work hard throughout the year. You know when it doesn't work. To keep your family comfortable. And just like your vehicle, regular maintenance is important to keeping your system running safely and efficiently. Dirt and debris accumulate in the furnace, the coils, the filters, all things you don't think about because it's just a box that sits in your basement. If it doesn't work, you kick it and see if you can get it going. The burners, the flame sensor, and the pilot can also become corroded, which can affect the reliability of your system. Annual maintenance can prevent untimely breakdowns and expensive repairs because it doesn't break when you're not using it. It's always in the dead of the winter or the heat of the summer. Benefits of regularly scheduled maintenance, lower utility bills, which I know that we all probably had higher bills with the increased electric of our air conditioners this year. Extended equipment life, fewer repairs, increased comfort, and peace of mind knowing that your equipment is operating safely. And unless you open up your owner's manual, a lot of people don't realize, all manufacturers require installed equipment to be serviced annually by a qualified HVAC service technician in order to honor their warranties. So what you can expect with one of our maintenance agreements, uniformed, trained, certified technician. They'll begin a series of checks. They'll clean the critical components of either the heating system, the AC system, or both. They'll perform a digital combustion test analysis, which checks for carbon monoxide, and to make sure that your furnace is operating with maximum efficiency. They'll also provide you with a comprehensive report of the results of your maintenance, so you know how it's working. They'll make any recommendations if a flame sensor needs to be replaced, if your igniter is a little weak, they will make that recommendation so you don't have that breakdown in the middle of winter at 3 in the morning when it's cold. Some of the benefits of being a Capella Comfort member, automatic scheduling of our maintenance visits depending on what plan you choose, and there is a detailed list in your pamphlet that's on your table, right here. We do have monthly payment options, we'll get to that. There's a diagnostic fee discount that'll save you a little money if you do need us to come out for that service call. Repair discounts, the same as the diagnostic fee. Accessory discounts, we have a list of accessories on the back of our pamphlet as well, including Wi-Fi thermostats, humidifiers, filter upgrades if you've got a 1-inch and you want to maybe think about keeping your air a little more comfortable and purified. Carbon monoxide detectors, surge protectors, ECM motors, germicidal ultraviolet light air purifiers, condenser covers, and leak detectors, which we'd all be very excited to tell you about if you have any questions. Priority emergency service response time, so if you do have that breakdown at 3 in the morning, we'll get someone right out for you. Enhanced labor warranties on repairs, a combined filter and humidifier pad credit, which I believe is a $5 credit toward the replacement of your filter or humidifier pad. And then equipment replacement accrual, which is kind of an exciting feature of our program. Depending on the level of membership you have, you can accrue money toward that next repair or the replacement because that's always an unexpected replacement cost. So we're very excited to launch this. If you have any questions, please give us a call. We'd love to put together a custom quote for you. This is our 40th year in business, so we're making a lot of changes, a lot of improvements, and we're excited to bring that to Lapeer. So if you have any questions, please see me or Janet in the back of the room. Hi, Janet. And we'd love to answer any of your questions and come out and see what we can do for you. Have a great day.
Thanks, Emily. After our furnace started making some really strange noises a couple years ago at the office, and then suddenly things weren't working, and the staff were standing around going, "Never sounded like that before, did it? It sounds different, doesn't it? I think something's going on. We might have a problem here." So it's just very nice to have that scheduled maintenance because we don't have to worry about it. They come in, they call us, they say, "Hey, it's time." I'm going, "Good, 9 to 5, we're here, come on, take care of it." They do it. I don't have to be concerned about it, and if, it's gonna make funny noises or do weird things, they're there on a regular basis to make sure everything's okay. And we're cool in the summer and we're warm in the winter. So let me tell you, it just takes a load off your mind not having to worry about that when somebody else is doing it for you. So, okay, so our next sponsor, I'm actually going to be speaking for Natasha Nivison Colwell. She is the owner of Michigan Dance Company and wanted to be a sponsor this morning, but unfortunately she was not able to be here, so she asked me and gave me some information. Michigan Dance Company is a local studio. They are in the plaza by Buffalo Wild Wings behind Starbucks and Jimmy John's. Natasha is the sole owner, and she actually opened her doors and started in 2013 and to offer ultimate dance and gymnastic experiences for area boys and girls of all ages. They are at MDC, an MDC award-winning choreographer. She not only coaches the students in proper dance technique, but strives to teach life lessons and inspire children as a whole. It's a priority with their instructors to make every child feel special and build up their natural talents. They offer leveled classes to ensure that each student receives the individualized hands-on instruction that they deserve. So they offer recreational, competitive, pre-professional classes in ballet, contemporary, modern, lyrical, tap, jazz, hip-hop, point, acrobatics, musical theater, pom-pom, gymnastics, singing lessons, and also adult cardio dance and stretch. They have a great toddler program from ages 1 to 4 that inspire creativity and expression while promoting coordination, advancing preschool cognitive and social skills. And this year they added an action-packed all-boys hip-hop class that builds self-esteem, improves flexibility, promotes coordination and body control, and increases agility and speed, all to contribute to their success in other sports. They are an affiliate member of the Association of Dance Conventions and Competitions, and at the regional level, they've won many championships and awards for outstanding performance, choreography, and most entertaining acts. Michigan Dance Company has been named champion several times at the national level as well. They were the recipient of the 2017 Best of the Best Dance Studio in Lapeer County. And this past year, Michigan Dance Company won 3 regional ADCC Studio Excellence Awards for exemplifying good sportsmanship and dedication to dance. And they ended their season by bringing home 3 national championship titles, along with a highly coveted ADCC National Studio of Excellence Award. So if you're looking for a dance studio for son, daughter, grandson, granddaughter, please check them out. And this is a studio where your child will thrive and learn a lot more than just the art of dance. And then we have just a brief video that we're going to play here for Michigan Dance Company. Okay, so that's Michigan Dance Company. Like I said, they are located in the plaza behind Starbucks. Check them out if you're thinking about it. If you have a child who is interested, it's not just for girls, but also for boys, and it's a good precursor in terms of learning to work as a team, physical and eye-hand coordination, balance, and so on. So check them out. Okay, our next sponsor, Patrick Hinkst from Wood Chips.
Thank you, Netta. Good morning, Lapeer. Oh, come on, guys. Good morning, Lapeer. Good morning. I thought this was Wake Up Lapeer. You guys are letting me down. Good morning, Lapeer. Good morning. All right, I'm from the world of restaurants. We tend to have a little bit more energy. My name is Patrick. I'm here to help you better invest your money. Anyone here work at, manage, or own a business with 4 or more employees? Let's see a show of hands. 4 or more? Okay. How many of you have ever had a meal provided for you at that business? Okay. Who remembers what that last meal was? Wes, how about you? What meal did you have last at the business?
Yeah, we had pizza and salad from Louis. It was great.
Pizza and salad. Awesome. Same thing? Anybody else remember what they had last?
We have wood chips.
Had wood chips. All right. That's what I like to hear. A lot of times most people go with what's easy or what's the least expensive option when they're going to feed their team. Louis does make great pizza, but oftentimes it's a hot and ready or something that's whatever's the fastest, easiest thing that they can make sure that they get some food to their team. But in my mind, I view food as an investment because you're trying to internally market to your team. You're trying to get your employees to appreciate something for you. You want them to have buy-in. You want them to have loyalty. You want them to have increased productivity. So I ask you, for the average person, when you get that pizza, as long as it's not the high quality stuff Louis offers, when you have pizza, is that really doing that for your team? Is that getting them excited? Are they going to tell stories about it? Do they think you're the greatest boss in the world? Most times, they might not think that way, even if you want to pat yourself on the back because you think you did a great job. But what if instead you had delicious wood chips barbecue brought to you on site? What if we had slow smoke beef brisket, our burnt ends, our succulent pulled pork, our roasted chicken quarters, our awesome, fantastic Brussels sprouts with a balsamic honey glaze? That's going to get people a little bit excited. Or you want to take it to the next level. You do one of our executive happy hours where we actually come on site, we bring a skilled mixologist, we build a little bar, we got awesome little finger food appetizers usually reserved for high-end weddings, and we're going to really impress your team for something that can be as low as $10 to $15 per person. Now that's an investment that's going to get your team actually excited for you. It's going to get them motivated. It's going to keep them productive. And it's going to let them brag about what a great job they have and what a great boss that they have as well, because they're willing to do these awesome things for them. So next time you guys want to do something for your business, or if you want to just put a little earworm in your boss's ear, mention Wood Chips Barbecue, whether it's our standard catering or our full service catering, we can come in there, we can wow people, we're going to make sure you're happy, make sure your team's happy, and you're getting the most productivity, the most loyalty, and all the positive, more tingly feelings in the world that you could possibly have. Thank you for your time. Patrick, Wood Chips, Real American Barbecue. Keep it fresh, keep it local, keep it real. Have a great day, Lapeer.
Thank you, Patrick. You didn't bring any of those Brussels sprouts with you this morning, did you? I could, if you've not had the Brussels sprouts that he's, oh my gosh, I could eat them for breakfast. They are fabulous. Everybody says, oh God, Brussels sprouts. Oh, no, no, no. These are not the Brussels sprouts your mama made. Believe me. They're fabulous, so. Okay, our member focus this month is Gail Coulter from Coulter Real Estate. Come on up and tell us a little bit about Coulter Real Estate and your new office and all the great things that are happening in the real estate market.
I will. I have no slideshow. I didn't know I was doing this morning. So good morning. Yeah, we're downtown Lapeer, and we're really, really excited about that. It's nice to be back to Lapeer. My husband was a Lapeer County very active individual, and now we are back downtown, and we have had a great response from the community. It's fun to be back downtown. But what everybody really wants to know is what's going on with this economy and real estate, right? You guys are all, how long have I got to sell my house? What's going on? To be honest with you, everything is good. We have seen some leveling off as far as prices are concerned. Interest rates are still low. It's kind of the time of the year where everything kind of starts to level off just a little bit. But we expect for the next few years prices to remain high. So things are well. So get ready to sell your house. This is a good time to move up. This is a good time to buy that vacant land. We need houses to sell. That's probably the biggest thing that we have in Lapeer County is we really need properties to sell. Not just houses. We're seeing our small commercial being very, very active. Also, farmland, that never dies. I mean, you know, you get a variation in price, but farmland is always a big seller for us. But for the new construction, we need new houses. We're starting to see that again too, and that's nice to see that. So yeah, come see us downtown. We got a great little office. I've got 14 agents, 3 locations now. And we're just going to work every single day and trying to sell real estate. And happy to be back in Lapeer. Thanks.
Okay, first nonprofit today, Ed Lavoie from WMPC. Come on up here, Ed.
Just want to share with you two quick things. One, when we were at Lapeer Days, we normally hear stories like, I sang on your station back in 1940, 1950, 1960, 1970. This year we never heard that. We heard, I used to go to church. I used to read my Bible. And we heard that from so many people this year. It was like, what happened? Where did these people come from and why are they coming to us? Then it hit me. It's like, well, people will come to us because we're just a neutral, non-denominational radio station. We play it all. And it was just wonderful to be there to encourage those people with a new Bible, or to encourage them to get back to their church and whatnot. It's one of the reasons why we started this 7 years ago, the Free Fall Family Fun Festival. It's at the radio station. It's a day of just bringing out the family and having fun. Bounce houses, activities. We're going to be doing some popsicle art with the kids this year, and tours of the radio station, and we've got a museum there as well. Some people don't even know there's a museum there. It's in the basement, not the best place for it, but it's there. And it's just a wonderful day. So if you could find a place to put this today, it's next Saturday. Stick it up on a bulletin board, stick it in some envelopes, put it in some flyers, make copies, send them to anybody you want to. We don't care. There's no copyright on it. So just appreciate you spreading the word for us. Thank you.
Hey, thanks, Ed. Sounds like a good time. Sounds like a lot of fun. Okay, next we have Chuck Lambert from St. Matthew's Anglican Church. Come on up here, Chuck.
Well, St. Matthew's Anglican Church, Anglican means Church of England, but we're offering the Alpha program again. It was just offered a few weeks ago at St. John's over in Davison. This is a non-denominational program. We have several other churches sending people in. It's a program where you get to ask the big questions, like, is this really all there is? And nobody's going to criticize you for asking the question. The course starts with a dinner. It's free. After that, there's a 30-minute video or talk. Then you sit down in a small group and openly discuss what you just heard. Or ask other questions. If you're an atheist, we'd love to have you. If you're not, we'd love to have you. So, starts Sunday, the 23rd, at St. Matthew's, right across from the main courthouse downtown. And 6 to 8 p.m., and it ends at 8 p.m. Period. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Okay, Cheryl Holland, Habitat for Humanity, Lapeer, Tuscola counties.
You're welcome. Good morning, everybody. Oh, I'm too sorry. Let me tone down the Scoutmaster voice. I work for Habitat for Humanity, Lapeer, Tuscola. I noticed that not everybody has flyers in their bags, and I apologize for that. But some of you have them. They have like a turquoise tree on them. We have our fundraiser coming up next month. It is our auction dinner. It is at the Lapeer Country Club, and it's November 9th, I think. Yes, you have it right there. Thank you. If you didn't get one, I have more in my car. Please let me know. I'll go get them for you. Please come. It's a really fun event. It helps fund what we're doing in this community. We still hope to start houses yet this year. We've applied twice now for a building permit to be shot down both times. We're trying round 3 yet this week. We're going to get it. Yes, I see your sign. If you work with Habitat, or even if you haven't, I hope you know we really do great things to help support the entire community. That a Habitat house doesn't just affect the family who lives in the house. It strengthens the entire community, and God has blessed us with that ability and a supportive community like you. Thank you very much.
All righty. Ben Cummings from the Lapeer Center.
Hi everyone, I'm Benjamin Cummings, and I have become Executive Director of the Lapeer Center, in continuous operation as the center of our community for 66 years. To secure our future, we have begun a capital drive. We have a plan in place This is in your bags. What we need now is the money. If everyone gives $1, we raise $7.6 billion. Of course, our need is far more modest. We are in the range of about $600,000 based on extensive input from our long-serving board members and community leaders. The plan has project estimates to get us through the renovation phase, and then a business plan to be sure that it is robust and self-sustainable, including paying down the existing debt. Can you join our cause? First, I would ask that you talk to people about us. Let them know that we are also pursuing big grant funding. We have a sustainer program in place as well. What we are asking for are individual gifts. We've already raised $75,000. The Lapeer County Community Foundation gave us $20,000 for exterior paint, and we came in ahead of schedule and under budget. The Lapeer Center has been in need and much used for a very long time, and will be needed and used for a long time to come. A gift to the Lapeer Center is a safe investment in the future of Lapeer's best self. We serve nonprofit, community, civic, service organizations, and private, business, corporate groups, parties, functions, expos, trainings, dinners, etc. The building is always full of well-fed, happy people, and often they are doing very good work on behalf of our entire community. So please give what you can and help us to speak to those who can give in a really big way. Thank you. And by the way, pot roast dinner tonight, $10 pot roast mashed, all the fixins, live music. Emily will sing a couple songs. I will sing a couple songs, but don't let that keep you from coming. 4 to 6:30 tonight, come and join us. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Ben. Just another thing, in your bags you'll find some information about the new 2019 Community Business Guide and Member Directory. So there is a copy from this year's in your bag, as well as information in terms of advertising. 5,500 of them are distributed throughout the community. Banks, credit unions, medical facilities, the library system. It's really the only type of business directory, and it only features Chamber of Commerce members, but it also incorporates a lot of community news, education, worship, our churches, our school system, colleges, has a calendar of events for all of the things that are going on throughout the year with some of our members, Lapeer Days, camel races, all those types of things, all the great events and things that we have going on that make this community so vibrant. So take a look at it. The information is there. Sherry Danielson from Blue Water Printing will be making contacts for advertising purposes. You all should have received a mailing with an update form. You can also go to our website and update your member contact information. If any of that has changed, we need to know, because once it's in print, it's in print. So take a look at that. You got a reminder and letter and forms stuff in the mail, and there's reminders going out in our emails as well. So the next person, what's your name? No. God. Oh my God, you blasting. Shame on you. Get over here. Dougie Kohler from the Lapeer Optimist. I'm guessing he's going to be talking about bad dreams and nightmares and stuff.
That's right. Good morning. All right. Listen, since 1978, the Lapeer Optimist has raised and kept over $3.2 million into Lapeer. Last year, we committed $35,000 to the Links program. We committed $35,000 to the new playground. And that's not talking about the softball league and all the other donations that we do throughout the year. We are in the process right now of working with the hospital and negotiating a heart check program for all the kids in Lapeer, all the youth. October the 13th, what the hell am I talking about? October the 13th, the Lapeer Optimists are going to have Nightmare on Nipissing Street. Heated, enclosed, live entertainment, beverage tent, costume contest for couples, single costume, $1,000 prize. You buy a raffle ticket, get you in the door for free. It's $20. All proceeds go to Lapeer Youth. I'll be here for a little bit afterwards, or you can stop at Lapeer County Vision. I have a bunch of them. It's going to be a fun night downtown Lapeer. Come a little early, go eat at some of the restaurants downtown, visit downtown Lapeer, and then prepare to laugh. Some of the costumes are just unbelievable. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Debbie. It is a really fun event, and he's right. It's just amazing, some of the costumes that you see. It just blows your mind how creative and detailed that they are. It's really a fun night. So Jill Lyons, Center for the Arts. Jill, come on up here and tell us what's going on at Tony and Tina's wedding. How they doing?
Nita is correct. Tony and Tina are getting married, and they're going to get married at the Lapeer Center building. This is the second big event of our 2018-2019 series. We get started this Saturday with Oktoberfest on Court Street. We start the festivities at 2:30. We have 4 bands. Your ticket gets you free German food. We'll have some arts and crafts in the afternoon. Throughout the night, let me see. We start with Brothers Grimm, Trans Am Euromutts, Immigrant Sons, and we finish up with Polish Muslims. And then on October 5th, Tony and Tina's wedding, which is a full wedding. It's a full Italian wedding. There will be a wedding ceremony, reception, and the audience is all invited. They're all part of it. It is so much fun. I went to Tony and Tina's wedding in Chicago by myself. Didn't know a soul. I had the best time ever. So come visit us. And then we are going to have a full season of programming back at the Pix. And that will start on, let me see, when does that start? October 12th. We have Solid State Radio live at the Pix. We now have a live radio show coming to you one Friday a month featuring local artists in Lapeer. And it's also free of charge. After that, on October 13th, we have the Rocky Horror Picture Show, so you can come see that and then go to the Optimist tent. There's 50 other shows coming up this year. Thank you.
Thank you. Also that same day on the 13th is the annual Fantasy Forest out at the Water Tower Park, so don't forget to take your kids out there and have some fun. So then our last nonprofit, Mr. Glenn Ream, Vietnam Veterans of America. Come on up here, buddy. We saved the best for last.
Oh, thank you. Maybe I'll remember to bring a door prize next time.
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, we're involved. If I can get my fingers to work here. This is happening this coming Saturday. It starts at 9 in the morning with opening ceremonies. They've doubled the amount of vendors and people who have signed on from last year. Another side note, normally our commemorative committee, which we had a meeting the other night, is extending now into next year, so I have to do more meetings as the chairman again. The POWMIA ceremony that we normally do on Friday will be Saturday morning at 11:30 at the airport. The 2 people that do it are members of our Vietnam Veterans Chapter, Dave Hoffman and Kent Wilson. Then you have Veterans Day flyers in your folders or papers, I should say, compliments of the chamber. And last on my agenda, I brought up the War on Terror monument that our chapter is working with the City of Lapeer, Parks and Rec, and Macomb Monument that has been ordered. We're hoping to get it in before the weather gets bad. However, since this involves deceased members, we will dedicate it on Memorial Day of next year, which will give us time to locate family members of the two deceased veterans that we have. So I think I got everything on my list here, and thank you.
Okay, what, this flyer, if you can't read it, then there should be some in your bag. It's Lapeer County's 4th Annual Veterans Summit and Job Fair that is taking place this Saturday from 9 to 2 at DuPont Lapeer Airport. It's presented by Michigan Veterans Affairs Agencies and Lapeer County Veterans Affairs. So there'll be job fair attendees from Ford Motor Company, K-Max, Rouge VIP, MDOT, and so on. Focus will be on housing, health, employment, education, and suicide prevention. So there'll be some vintage military vehicles there, police vehicles, aircraft displays, and so on. So share the information with veterans who you know, and we hope that it is another successful year for them out there.